Good morning, Gardenia! Happy Friday. Good news, Fina Friday. We made it. That's right. We got shrinking penises. We got a lot of human Believe me, the shrinking penises is a good news story. I will spin that. No, the rest of the good news today doesn't require any kind of spinning. We got a lot of human optimization stuff and 3 stories about aliens. We've been covering aliens every week on this show for I don't know how long. We finally found them. They are here. But before we do that, we got a special promotion. I know Fina wants to say something about this, our Fina Friday co-host, who's going to be watching your comments today. And by the way, we have a guest today also. Jay Nygaard, the turbine guy, comes back for an update on some alternative energy news and what we have planned here for Gardenia. Big day yesterday. We got a lot of stuff done. Exciting stuff happening there. But first, let's get Fina up on stage here, our co-host for Good News Friday. And on screen, if we can, Jim promoting a fundraiser that someone else did. We're going to not let Jim talk so we can talk about Jim while he makes sure that what we're talking about him makes sense. So Jim, if you would please get the GoFundMe fundraiser up on screen next to Fina and myself. Fina, how you doing this morning? It's what? Is it 4 a.m. there?
It's 5.
5 a.m. All right.
Hey, look, it's a new smile for Jim. Yes, please donate to Jim's smile fund and get his teeth fixed. He wants some new teeth. I was reading the description and it said that he was playing softball with his little girl, or maybe
badminton. It's a really dumb story. It's not as exciting as I smoked meth for 20 years and lost my teeth. That would have been more fun. No, Jim was playing badminton with his daughter, and as he went to pick up the birdie, they call it that's the thing, the thing, the birdie in badminton. He went to go pick it up, and his daughter went to hit it and hit him right across the front of his jaw and knocked out his 4 middle front teeth, and that was years ago, and he's had all sorts of issues around that since then. Crazy dumb story.
I do want to say this today and today only. I will match the contributions for Jim's teeth. Up to $300 because I ain't rich, but I can do $300.
Let's do it.
It's only if $300 get donated today. So, but I'll match it because I want to smile.
Yes. I mean, what's the point of him not wearing a mask if he can't smile at people, right? And well, he can, but and Jim has such a great smile. It's so warm and personable until he opens his mouth all the way, and then you're like, but he still manages to be great at smiling despite that. And so, yeah, and if you look at that, we have a pretty serious goal set up there. And if we don't make it, we'll send him to Mexico or Thailand to get his teeth fixed. But one way or another, we're going to make this happen eventually. So check it out. Jim, a new smile for James Vaughn. Fina, what else you got going on? Is there any good news in Hawaii to share today? other than we're smoking weed on camera.
You guys already covered some news from Hawaii earlier this week, and I don't want to talk about it because it's not good news. It's bad news, and it makes me sad. So, but I do want to tell you, I've been trolling you, Adam. I've been trolling you all week. I'm not real time because 5 a.m. is just really early for me to dedicate 2 hours of my time to watching something when I could be sleeping. And at 5 a.m., And so I've been watching later, and I've been doing quotes from you all week, and you've had some really good quotes. And I was thinking, if it's cool with you guys, I mean, we could meme one of them, if just one a week. All right. So, but I want to share the quotes with you. Jim, do you have those screenshots or no? Did you get those up? I gave them to him kind of late. So.
Could this be our Friday contest? The smartest thing Adam said all week.
Well, what would you win? What would you win? I have nothing to give you. So
no. Well, every day that you're a co-host, you get to give away membership in the Producers Club. That's your content contest for comments if you
What
want
would
to
you
do
win,
so.
Adam, for your quote? Like, there's nothing like you don't win. I mean, you win a meme that somebody's gonna make, maybe. Yeah.
That's not for me. It's for the audience.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. I want to share my top ones of the week. Okay, because that's where we're at.
All right,
Did
hit it.
you happen to get those screenshots or no? Yay or nay?
Me?
Jim.
Jim. Sorry,
Yeah,
Jim.
screenshots. So, all right. So I went on your. I'm watching them later on YouTube.
Sorry,
right?
I got it. Just coming in to let you know here, answer your question. I got the screenshots through your Telegram, but I'm not exactly sure how to put them somewhere that I can share them through StreamYard. So I'm trying to figure that out right now.
Fine, no worries. I'm just gonna go to the Telegram and look at the pictures, anyways, and I'll just share them that way. So I'm gonna start with the first one. This was from Monday. All right, so Monday. Right, the YouTube comments. Adam quote of the day: Libertarian Party has a platform. It's not a short document, but it's not a book. It's like a long pamphlet. When I heard that, I was like, that's when it all started. I was like, someone needs to be documenting this shit.
That's the best line of the week. Not we're gonna wake up homeless on the continent our forefathers conquered. I had some quotes like that this week. I thought that
Okay, so you got that
right,
was Monday's
okay.
quote of the day. Tuesday's quote of the day. All right. Tuesday's quote of the day. Do you remember when it was called coronavirus? It was like these are symptoms, and this is a symptom, and then you could get COVID toes and COVID fingers, and then your dick could fall off. When you said that, I was like rolling on the floor laughing for real because I remember all that shit. I was like, yeah, as a matter of fact, COVID toes. And I remember looking at like just random marks on my body. I was like, is that a COVID mark? Is it like
they got you? See, I have to be really humble in all of this too. This is a good reminder because I fell for it. Like I was traveling and, we had the sniffles 2 winters ago and, we were like, oh shit, well, I might have it. And what's funny? I actually experienced getting laughed at for wearing a mask because this was like very early on. We were traveling, my crew on the bus for the campaign, we thought we might have gotten corona. And so I went to a Walmart and decided, hey, I'm going to wear a bandana just to be polite to not sneeze on other people. And there were teenagers in the store snickering at me. And I almost wanted to go cop on them and be like, well, I might have it, guys. What's the big deal? And I don't think you should ever laugh at someone, taking a protective measure for themselves if you can't judge why they're doing it. But yeah, we all and then your dick's going to fall off.
Yeah. And then the last one, I have Adam quote of the day to bring it circle back to when you were asking me about good news for Hawaii or whatever. And I was like, no. Adam quote of the day: they only want to show you the bad side of guns. And when you said that, the first thing that came into my mind was my favorite, I don't know, this sounds really fucked up to say, my favorite shooting video, but it was a good video. It was of the West Freeway Community Church or Christ Church, something like that in Texas. And that was the one where the gunman came in and at offering time, or actually it was at communion time, he decided to pull out a gun. Well, not in Texas, not at this church, honey, because he got gunned down real quick. Like there, and my favorite part was like all these old men coming out from like, let me get my gun. I got it. Coming out of nowhere, like, I got this, y'all. Like the guy who was literally passing the communion trays, I got it. Like he was carrying. And that's an example. And when that happened last December. And that was right after a Jewish synagogue had gotten shot up. And no one had guns there except for the gunman. And, when you said they only want to show you the bad side of guns, even when I told you that came through my mind, when I was researching it and trying to find it, a video clip to show you guys today about it, I couldn't find the cool ones, that came out right when it happened. Like all the ones that are out there now have no, I mean, it's got the gunshots and the screamings and everything. But when it first came out, like that video, people, like independent people, took it and just kind of cut it a little bit better. And I remember seeing one that was like, I want to say like Snoop Dogg was over it, and it just kind of highlighted all these not my church people, you know, and that's the good side of guns, you know. But
well, sorry, go ahead.
That's all I wanted to say. I end sentences like that sometimes. Sorry.
Well, it's funny you put it that way, and it occurs to me, I'm about as anti-gun as you can be while being 100% pro-gun rights. And I say this only because I see a higher tech future of achieving all the goodness of guns without the necessary lethality, or the unnecessary lethality in achieving what is supposed to be done. And I mean, I'll say this every chance I get, because I think this is a higher expression of libertarian values than just saying, well, you have a right to own a gun and guns do this, and make the argument from effect, you know, to say, well, like, you have a right to own a gun because you have a right to defend yourself. And, well, you need to be able to defend yourself because we live in a dangerous world and a gun is the best way. And, you know, with non-lethal technology, the ability to defend against almost any attacker without killing them. And, you know, you think about this even from a crude, you know, self-interest perspective. If someone is attacking you with the purpose of killing you, if you kill them back right away, you don't get any more value out of that. You get a pile of meat, you get a mess to clean up, right? But if you disable them and you know, handcuff them and hold them accountable for their actions, at least you have a chance of getting some kind of compensation for that. But more importantly than that, even most of the time that someone is using violence against another, when there's a chance of stopping them anyway, it's a crime of passion. Crimes of incentive or war crimes that are more thought out and deliberate, you're not going to stop them by drawing a gun, right? You know, because they thought it out. The guy who goes to rob a gas station convenience store because he's an idiot and pulls a gun on the clerk and puts it in his face could get shot under the counter by another gun, right? But the one who's thoughtful and thinks it out times it, and when he's taking out the trash, puts the gun up behind his head, walks him in, gets the money, walks out, and it's peaceful, right? Or at least if he decides he wants to kill him, there's no stopping him because he's thought it out at that level. So in all the other cases, it's a crime of passion where it's rage or emotions that have gotten out of control, and or something with substance abuse. And I say this for the same reason, like, you want cops to have drones with cargo nets, because if they have drones with cargo nets that they can drop on you at any time, and you go, well, shit, that sounds scary. Drop on me? They're gonna like disable me with a cargo net that's gonna take me out and stop me from doing what I'm doing. Well, guess what? If they have that, if cops in America had the perfect system by which they could point a laser at any person, and a drone would drop a cargo net on them and disable them completely, they'd have a lot less excuses to shoot motherfuckers.
I'm a big fan of non-lethal weapons. I don't understand why the police don't use them more often. While I was in the military, we had a threat matrix. There's like steps of escalation and de-escalation. Most importantly is de-escalation. And there are ways to avoid the situations of mass killing. Well, when I say mass killing, I mean just we could take it all down a notch. We can all value from some de-escalation training.
Yeah.
When I was in the military,
when it comes to stopping mass shootings, you know, the good guy with the gun is great, and we see that, and we see from stories we've covered this week that's a heavily repressed narrative and repressed statistics even on that. But more prevalent non-lethal ways of stopping an active shooter would be even better, because if there's an active shooter and you pull a gun and you take out the shooter, someone else might confuse you for the shooter. But if you pull out pepper spray, and I don't think pepper spray is really adequate. I mean, I carry pepper spray, and I think of like, well, if there's an active shooter, I'd have to be really confident to try to walk up and get some pepper spray on that guy, right? But if it was maybe, set phasers to stun, some next level uh, stun gun, or even pepper spray that's like a projectile based, right? I think that means that they know that you're there trying to stop the shooter, not trying to kill the shooter, because that's never the goal. The goal is never to end a human life. The goal is to preserve life. And if a human life has made itself a threat to other human life, yes, if the only way to stop it is kill it, take it out, absolutely I have no problem with that. But it's 2021. It's time to think of better ways, if it comes down to, like, we got a pepper spray from the ceiling emergency button and everybody in the room is disabled, or there's something like that, that's going to, imagine that if you had an active shooter alarm system. Here's a crazy idea, right? Say we had some sonic disruptor, right? That immediately dropped everybody to the floor as long as it was on, and it was uncomfortable, but it was mostly painless, and it dialed 911, right? Then anybody in that church, you don't need to carry a gun. If everybody in that church has an emergency app that activates that system, boom, done. And there's a way to come in, and maybe someone with now a cop with earmuffs, and it'd be better for private security, right? But if it's a cop comes in this active shooter disabler security system, he's got earmuffs, he sees the guy on the ground, basically zip ties everybody to make sure they got the right guy, turns off the system, and then we figure it out, minimizes damage. We're capable of shit like this. Why are we still arguing about guns and ignoring the mental health? Both of these sides of the conversation are just so, I'll say retarded, because I mean it in the literal sense. We are retarded in our living up to our capabilities right now.
Yeah, we're talking about a mass shooting, right? That's worst case scenario. That is worst case scenario. But I would like to address the shootings that happen, like police on civilians, and the issue of the police brutality, right? So when I was in the military, I was a prison guard for the last 2 years, and we learned de-escalation techniques. You were a prison guard. Not sure if you learned the de-escalation techniques as much as I did. I was here in Hawaii as a prison guard. So
yeah, I did obviously just a little bit of guarding detainees in the Marines, but they only taught us how to escalate. Right. De-escalate. Shout. Wait, was it? Shout, show, shove, shoot. That was what they taught us.
Well, the thing is, though, we learned de-escalation techniques, right? And this past weekend, there was a lot of, this past weekend that happened here in Hawaii, there was some unrest, some protests, and some people got hurt. And it was it was like 5 on one woman, 5 police officers on one woman. And she was smaller than me. And to me, that wasn't a de-escalation. To take down one woman with 5 people in a violent way. There's different ways you can approach things. We were talking about, if it was a mass shooting happening inside of a building, the things you can do inside of a building is you could close off doors. If we had a way that we could just shut down individual corridors or a way to section off things, that would be good, not just for something like what if a mass shooting happens, but also what if a tornado comes through or things like that you want to be able to secure different sides of the building, But yeah, guns are not the enemy, my friends. And there are alternatives to guns. You do not have to shoot someone to disable them, to disarm them, to de-escalate the situation. Your strongest weapon that you have are your words. Honestly, it's your words. And I think if people use their words better, I think we would all have a better day from it. Good morning. It's 5 a.m. in Hawaii.
Well, hey, I gotta say, with all this good news about shootings from Hawaii, now there is There is good news from Hawaii, though. It seems like things are opening up and tourism is sort of unsuppressible at this point. And I want to we have a couple uncontained COVID stories today. We will be dispensing plenty of misleading medical advice. But in Hawaii, it's important to see that what's really happening here, where instead of where governments are saying, oh, the virus isn't so bad, we can open up, it's really shit. The people aren't putting up with this shit anymore. Let's come up with an excuse to save face and let things go. So from what I see, the crowds are back up to most of capacity in Hawaii. And for when I was there, when we met last, and to see people struggling, Hawaii in just kind of a weird state without that economy of tourism that so much of the state has been built around. So it's nice to hear that that's coming back. But before we get into our good news headlines, tell us again, what is your comment contest for the day? You want the smartest thing, the dumbest thing Adam said all week? Is that the Friday tradition now?
Okay, I want two things. I want the first thing we talked about, which was, what's the best Adam quote of the week? So I want that in the comments. That's great. If you can post it later, that's fine. I'll figure it out by next Friday and have a meme together or something, right? Because like I said, there was some good quotes. And if you're not sure what I said, you can go back through the videos through the week and check it out on the comments. I'm on there. It says Fina Benoa. There's not any other one. So as far as Fina Benoa, there's other comments. Feel free to comment later, but there's no other Fina Benoa comment there. All right. And then our contest, our official comment contest today is, I want the best nickname for weed or the best weed comment. So it's a weed theme. Okay.
Shocking. Surprising. We don't talk about that very much on the show. All right, let's get producer Jim up here, executive producer Jim. And maybe play us some music.
Yeah.
Smoke weed every day.
Woo! That was a long, slow hit. Thank you for being on that. We got a new button, ladies and gentlemen. All right, executive producer Jim Freedom. You have to get on stage to talk here. Let's do this. Comment, Jim, with the promos, starting with the Crypto 6 website appears to be back up. Is Jim off?
I feel like he maybe
is he being shy? I'm having trouble keeping up with our producers club chat, and so there's so much else going on. Oh shit.
Oh man, you got him taking you got him taking a bathroom break there, maybe.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was producing a show from the shitter. Hope you're happy knowing that in your reality now. That's funny. I was hoping I always wonder every time. I'm always worried I'm gonna get called on if I go to the bathroom, and here we are.
Talk about
Finally happened.
Don't even mention it. Don't even mention it.
I was not taking a weed nap this time, so thank you, Patrick Lewis. I haven't taken a weed nap since the last time. So no weed naps for me. Sorry about my delay, but we can get through some promos now. So if you want to be a part of everything that you've been seeing right now and get all the links that Adam's going to talk about and everything, we have all of that at the public Telegram channel that you can find at t.me/Adam versus the man. If you don't feel exactly like waiting to win a contest from somebody and you want to just buy your way in. You're just like, I want to be there. I don't want to worry about it. You can just go to the website. You see at the bottom of the screen, adamversustheman.com. Looks like this. There's a button that says Patreon. You can click on that, and you can look at the different levels to support the show. $10 a month is where it's at. That buys you access into the Producers Club, the private chat that we all have so much fun in. The links and the StreamYard chat link go there every single day. Go back to the website, check out cigarfederation.com. We got a link right there on the front page to the best cigar website on the internet right now. You can use promo code ADAM10, all caps, Adam10. That's going to get you 10% off of your entire order here, no matter how much you order. They're absolutely delicious cigars. So pick your flavor, pick your poison, and get to it. After that, you can check out the shop. All the merchandise CJ has put together at adamversustheman.com. He's got shirts, hats, backpacks, towels, hip sacks, beanies, everything you can think of. You can get the Adam versus the Man logo or the Freedom logo, put on pretty much anything. So definitely check that out. Don't forget to hit the load more button at the bottom of the screen so you can see the more stuff. And then after that, not lastly, actually, before I even tell you about Instagram, because I've told you about that before, we're going to tell you about the Crypto 6, because we've been adding that to our regular promotions, because we want these guys to get the help that they can get. So this is Crypto 6. It's very easy to understand, easy to read. Here's a minute video for you guys to play. And if you scroll down just a little bit at the crypto6.com, they got all these QR codes that you can just point your phone at. It'll scan it for you. It'll bring you to the place where you can digitally donate to these guys to help get them their legal teams, to get them taken care of. So definitely do that. Very important that we help our Crypto 6 brothers.
Awesome. And it looks like they're very well organized. All right, so let's just jump into it now. Human optimization. Our guest is going to be joining us in just 27 minutes. So we want to make sure we at least get a couple of these blocks done before we get to Jay Nygaard, the turbine guy.
Sorry to interrupt. On that note, I'm glad you said that. I don't have contact info for Jay Nygaard.
He's got the link. He'll be on.
Okay.
Check your Telegram messages, Jim. I know, yeah, that's one thing you got to watch. All right, Sky News, news.sky.com. Human penises are shrinking because of pollution, warns scientist. Dr. Shanna Swan has found that chemicals called phthalates, something like that, are causing human babies to be born with malformed genitals. Penises are shrinking and genitals are becoming malformed because of pollution. The environmental scientist has warned in a new book detailing the challenges facing human reproduction. Dr. Shanna Swan writes that humanity is facing an existential crisis in fertility rates as a result of phthalates, a chemical used when manufacturing plastics that impacts the hormone-producing endocrine system. I'm pretty sure this is how they're making the frogs gay. But why is this in good news? Because if you just turn this perspective around a little bit, we figured out how to reverse penis shrinkage by getting rid of pollution. Yeah, that's right. And just this consciousness, we have been in denial of it for so long, is really a weird product of the modern era of the health impacts of pollution on human beings that have been suppressed by the industries behind things like this, the plastic islands in the ocean. And now it's just like, shrinking penises, let's do something about that. I think that might be the thing that finally motivates people. So at least that understanding and that negative consequence of that pollution is becoming, I think that's good news. All right, I guess we talked about school shootings and shrinking penises, and this is supposed to be Good News Friday. Thanks, Pina. All right, techsplore.com, smart clothes that can measure your movements. And this is cool, just next level exercise equipment. Really, in recent years, there have been exciting breakthroughs in wearable technologies like smart watches that can monitor your breathing and blood oxygen levels. But what about a wearable that can detect how you move as you do a physical activity or play a sport, and could potentially even offer feedback on how to improve your technique? And as a major bonus, what if the wearable were something you'd actually already be wearing, like a shirt or a pair of socks? That's the idea behind a new set of MIT-designed clothing that use special fibers to sense a person's movement via touch, among other things. The researchers showed that their clothes can actually determine things like if someone is sitting, walking, or doing particular poses. The group from MIT's Computer Science and Artificial Intelligence Lab says that their clothes could be used for athletic training and rehab with patients' permission. They can even help passively monitor the health of residents in assisted care facilities and determine if, for example, someone has fallen or is unconscious. I mean, this is cutting edge. This is where we are with this now. I'm a big enthusiast of working out, but do I really want to be monitoring my heart rate, or do I want to be enjoying working out so that I'm more motivated to work out? There's a bit of a balance there. To me, people have like Fitbit and just things that pace them, or Map My Run. There's this really funny app. I got it because I saw this story. Under Armour has an app called Map My Run. You turn it on, and it maps your run. It traces where you are by your phone GPS, and then you just stop, and it shows you, how far you ran. And the reason I found out about this app is because there was a woman drawing penises with it. She would design her routes of her run to make cock and a little head, and come back and do the balls and say, oh look, I ran a penis. So to me, the challenge with this stuff isn't so much the ability to sense things in our bodies like that. That's really cool, but it's how we process that information. And I think rather than having something that like if you get a Fitbit, and I don't know, I've never used one, but what it does your heart rate and your step count, something, or your pace count, something like that. And right, first of all, I do a lot of construction work and manual labor out here, and Gardenia is part of homesteading. I love it. And if I don't get that for a while, I'll go lift weights, or I'll make sure I'm getting some other physical activity. But a Fitbit isn't going to tell you like how many calories you burned if you're doing a variety of things. You have to sort of think into that. Well, it told me how many steps I walked, but I was carrying stuff today, and I installed that bookshelf, and I moved those rocks, and so like I burned all these extra calories. So, and I got to adjust my calorie counter thing, And I see people getting sucked in and spending like too much time on the biofeedback monitoring. And so what's exciting about this is not, oh, we have clothes that can sense stuff. Like, that's pretty cool. But in order to sense, like, if you imagine like your technique swinging a tennis racket, and you're wearing a long sleeve shirt that detects, or even a glove that can detect, your position in 3D, and then maybe give you feedback and say, well, no, you're turning this because it's got a 3D model. It's because that's possible, not just because you have the fabric, you have the sensors, but that you have the artificial intelligence, you have that AI attached to it. Maybe it's not AI, that's an exaggeration, but you have the supercomputing power. I guess it's not supercomputing, but whatever it is, you have the processing power, the software, the analysis to do that for you automatically, like a digital assistant. Like when you say, "Okay, Google," like I should be careful, because if I say those words, something in here might activate, and I'm doing a show right now. But now we have more positive gym-related health fitness news. Fox 5 New York, and I told you we had some unconstrained or uncontained COVID stories today. New Jersey gym owner who defied restrictions offering free memberships for anti-COVID vaxxers. Now, it's not this. Even this headline is a little misleading. It's not anti-COVID vaxxers. It's for people who don't get vaccinated. So they said, this is the Ian Smith Attilas Gym in Belmar. And by the way, we really should get him on the show. We've been covering him in the story of Attilas Gym several times throughout the last year with their civil disobedience around this pandemic. And to Ian and the rest of his team at Attilas, keep up the great work. Their tweet said, in light of at Krispy Kreme giving free donuts for receiving the COVID shot, here at the Attilas Gym, we are giving out free memberships to all who don't get vaccinated. We believe in health, the real way, exercise, good diet, plenty of vitamin D, zinc, and an environment to de-stress. And oh my God, it's beautiful. It's so beautiful that there is a counter narrative to, well, people are just subsidizing giving you the COVID vaccine. And I don't want to say, I don't know if I really want to take a position either way. Like, not taking the vaccine is its own reward, not experiencing the side effects and the risk of everything else that goes along with the vaccine, not submitting to the medical tyranny when you have a choice. And what Jim is showing here on screen, I think, is the Attila's gym owners breaking down the barriers that they put in front of the gym when local cops locked it up. So that now not taking the vaccine being associated with health, really good thing. Next story, another kind of just awareness good news, not so much good news in itself. Studyfinds.org. Preservative in Pop-Tarts, Cheez-Its, hundreds of popular foods may harm immune system. And the funny thing is they're looking at this in part because, oh shit, COVID, we should have strong immune systems. Oh, well, it's what we're feeding you that's fucking up your immune system. Most shoppers probably appreciate preservatives for their ability to keep food around longer before it spoils. Unfortunately, a new report finds hundreds of popular processed food may contain one ingredient which harms the human immune system. Oh, really? Just one? Researchers from the Environmental Working Group say nearly 1,250 products contain the shelf life extending chemical tert butylhydroquinone, or TBHQ. Should I try that again? Tert butylhydroquinone. They find this preservative used in Pop-Tarts, Rice Krispie treats, Cheez-Its, and countless other products disrupts immune health in both animal and non-animal tests. It may even weaken the effectiveness of vaccines against viruses like COVID-19. As Olga Naidenko, PhD study lead author, EWG Vice President for Science Investigation, said the pandemic has focused public and scientific attention on environmental factors that can impact the immune system. Before the pandemic, chemicals that may harm the immune system's defense against infection or cancer did not receive sufficient attention from public health agencies to protect public health. This must change. And all the more reason to grow your own food or to get locally sourced food, but just to be more conscientious of your food, avoiding processed food where possible. And I got to say, I'm pretty good on this count, but it is, I don't want to say it's like my one sin in self-care and diet and all that. But out of laziness and convenience, I eat a lot of canned food. But I avoid stuff with preservatives and I avoid stuff that is like colors that food is not supposed to be. Don't eat that stuff for starters, right? If it's hot pink, probably not a natural food source. And if you just make sure that you get majority clean food, and I say clean food, to me that means not that you washed it off, but it's non-GMO. It doesn't have preservatives or pesticides in it. I think there's safe ways that those can be used, and organic versions of those. So I don't say like all such things, but not in the food or in a way that can be safely washed off or removed for what you're eating, and without the preservatives and chemicals in processed food. Processing food is not the problem. When homesteaders are canning food, they're processing it. So you can process food and maintain its clean nature. For the most part, some people would argue it's impossible without compromising something. Whatever. I don't think that's true. So if processing food in and of itself isn't bad, what makes it bad? It's that they add ingredients, they add all this toxic shit, and it's just fucking read the ingredients. Avoid stuff where the ingredients list is a paragraph long, and you'll feel better about that. So, as the study says, are there less toxic options available? The study finds manufacturers can still make processed foods without potentially dangerous additives. Researchers recommend that shoppers read their food labels carefully. TBHQ is commonly but not always listed with the other ingredients. However, this won't be the case if the chemical is used in the packaging process and seeps into food later. EWG is recommending that toxicity testing be a priority when it comes to chemicals added to food. Study authors are also calling on the FDA to close loopholes which allow unsafe food additives to stay on the market. Oh, you mean the Food and Drug Administration, the people who were supposed to keep that stuff safe for us, haven't been doing that? Shocking, right? If you want to find more about that, again, anything else, all the links for everything we cover on the show at t.me/Adam versus the man with the notes, our public Telegram channel, and exclusively there. Study finds out our holding on to negative emotions can have a lasting impact on your well-being. One of the reasons we do Good News Friday. It turns out that the song Don't Worry, Be Happy may be more accurate than people think. Psychologists at the University of Miami say the longer negative emotions linger in the human brain, the worse it is for your mental health. Suppose you drop your breakfast on the way to work and it splatters all over your clothes. Later that day, a colleague comes up to say hello, not knowing about your rough morning. Do you grumble or reply, still thinking about your lousy day, or greet them politely? The study finds those holding on to negativity longer in their amygdala may impact their long-term psychological well-being. The amygdala is the almond-shaped structure on both sides of the brain's cerebrum, which evaluates stimuli and supports emotion and memory. And the thing about this is it really is a choice. All right, 1054 weighs in here. The fact that Pop-Tarts have heating instructions is a lot about people in general. Yeah, I love Pop-Tarts. But that's not really human food. Yeah, it's not. There's shit in there. There's stuff people aren't supposed to eat. As Colette Allen says, when I've had my Weetabix, I eat anything. All right, so but the thing about this is holding on to negativity. It says, holding a grudge can affect your well-being. And there's not a lot of, why people do this or how to stop doing this in the story here, right? But what it comes down to, and I know, there's in terms of mental health issues, a lot of the problem is the experience of removing free will, right? And this is a scary thing. I think about anybody who's experiencing any kind of mental health issues, and I can say when I experienced PTSD symptoms when I came back from Iraq, it's kind of scary to say I want to do this with my brain, and my brain is doing something else. You go, fuck, I don't have a choice. But the thing is, that is rarely, except for people experiencing extreme dementia or schizophrenia, or truly overwhelming autism or anxiety disorders, the kind of things like that really control your mind, your brain most of the day. For most of us, we still have conscientious free will most of the time. And I know this is very subjective. If you want to argue definitions, I know you could go different ways with this. But the point is that even if you find yourself holding on to a grudge and ruminating on something, at some point you become aware of it, and it's your choice whether to keep doing it. And you go, well, I have involuntary thoughts. They keep popping up. So there is that involuntary part. But when it's the minority, those of us who are mentally healthy overall, who aren't in that category of overwhelming mental health disorder, you have the conscientious power to choose your mood, your attitude, your outlook, to identify things that your brain is doing that you don't like. For me, it's, I've had issues with sleep, and usually it's, I don't want to sleep. I want to stay up and keep having fun. Mom, why do I have to go to bed? But when I'm trying to go to sleep, I can't just turn off my brain, and my brain keeps doing stuff. But so that's like my free will isn't working. I don't have the conscientious power to just go, bam, flip a switch, and I go to sleep. So I have thoughts that come up while I'm trying to go to sleep. I know that that's a small part of my brain's functioning over an overall, over the course of a day. And I can do things to condition to make sure that that is minimized. And it's the same thing with this, but there's a bigger point here, which is making sure that you're choosing an overall framework of positivity and happiness. So I end every show with choose happiness. It's a really important, powerful reminder to say, this is a choice to a certain degree. Do I hold on to this grudge or not? But sometimes, at some points in holding a grudge, I understand it's involuntary. Just keep, I'm so angry, but Are you? Are you? So maybe take this as an opportunity right now. Right now, I'm going to stop, give you a moment of silence, and do a quick like inventory. Then we'll get to the super chat. Quick inventory of your recent mental habits, and if there have been any patterns of negativity. So stop. I'll give you 10 seconds. I bet you didn't think I was capable of shutting up for that long. All right, 10 seconds. If something occurred to you, write it down, come back to it after the show, because that's a power, like, and this is a great daily meditation to develop this awareness. And we all have it to some degree, but this is the kind of thing that if you need help, put it on a wall, put it on your desk, give yourself a daily reminder, like, hey, am I holding any grudges? Do I have am I indulging? Is my brain against my free will that choosing a positive mental attitude? Is it engaging in negative thought patterns? Can I at least identify those? And identifying them is the first step. And I'm not going to get into like how to attack every such negative thought problem right here. John Smith for $4.20. Here's $4.20. Thanks for doing what you do. Thank you very much. We'll put that in the weed fund. So the story ends, though, studyfinds.org, explaining the triggers for mental health problems. Puccetti believes this link may explain why some people can simply let it go when bad things happen to them. For those of you who can't, the team hopes to repeat the study with participants who are at high risk for developing depression or anxiety. Puccetti concludes, quote, it might be the case that they're showing even greater persistence, and that's something that can tell us about why they might be likely to go on to develop a psychiatric disorder. And it's really interesting to think that a lot of what ends up being, really deeply rooted software problems that end up becoming hardware problems might have simply started from not from someone having this perspective of positivity kept from them. And I don't want to say that like I was deprived of it until I discovered it as an adult. No, I mean, my parents always, raised me with this to one degree or another in their words. But I think as humanity progresses, we get a better understanding of human psychology and more effective ways of living better based on these principles. Stoicism does the same thing. Good point. All right. sfgate.com. Concussions can be diagnosed through a saliva test. British researchers find. Researchers say they can diagnose concussions accurately using a biomarker in saliva, a groundbreaking finding that raises the possibility that doctors and athletic trainers could rapidly determine whether someone suffered a concussion using an objective test, according to a peer-reviewed blah, blah, blah. Anyway, cool little innovation to share. Now, if you've ever done any kind of diving, and I've done just like when I was in Hawaii years ago, a very limited amount of skin diving, spear fishing, and was able to go down, and I've always been a pretty good swimmer. I've been out of practice for a long time, but just getting back to why, getting familiar with it, I was able to go down like 30 feet, to dive down 30 feet in I guess a few seconds, and hang out for like maybe 30 seconds down there, and then have to jet back up. But they're free divers who are able to go, like, who wear weights and a little bit of special equipment, not air. They take a breath at the surface and go down for sometimes 5+ minutes at a time, and they'll get down well over 100 feet. So I have a little bit of appreciation for this. I hope this gives you some too. The deepest diver in the history of free diving goes below the ice, from dnyuz.com. When the champion free diver and multiple world record holder Alexei Molchanov stepped onto the streaked ice on Lake Baikal in southern Siberia on March 18, the sky was cobalt blue. The sun illuminated the surrounding mountains. The wind was light, and the air a balmy 14 degrees Fahrenheit, or minus 10 degrees Celsius. Perfect day for a swim. But this wasn't the typical polar bear plunge. Molchanov, 34, hoped to swim 80 meters, or approximately 262 feet for you imperialists, beneath the 1 meter thick icy surface and back up on a single breath. In the process, he would break yet another world record. Dressed in a thick blue wetsuit and gloves, he slid into a monofin, then slipped into a square 3 foot by 3 foot cut in the ice, where he clipped onto a thin rope that disappeared into the inky water. He deployed a technique that his mother, Natalia Molchanova, the most decorated freediver of all time, first developed and taught, and Molchanov has taken worldwide. She called it deconcentration. Instead of taking in the scene, he detached from it both visually and psychologically. He focused on taking long, deep, rhythmic breaths until his heart rate slowed and he entered a meditative state. Then he slipped the air through pursed lips until his lungs were fully inflated from his diaphragm to the tiny air pockets between and behind his shoulder blades. Finally, he ducked below the surface and disappeared. Nearly 100 spectators and a throng of Russian news media waited on the surface above him. This dive was more difficult than most. His wetsuit was 7 times thicker than normal, which made it more challenging to kick against the positive buoyancy found in the first 10 meters, or approximately 33 feet of depth. All that effort demanded he tap into his finite supply of oxygen. To keep warm, he wore a mask, something he typically avoids on deep dives, which meant he had to hold his nose between his thumb and forefinger to equalize instead of relying on a nose clip. Plus, cold water makes equalization of the sinuses when a diver funnels air into the sinuses to keep them pressurized to prevent head pain and injuries like burst eardrums extremely challenging. Within 20 seconds, he'd reached 20 meters, 66 feet, and puffed his cheeks out to create a vacuum for the remaining air in his lungs to fill. On typical dives, he stores his mouth fill and uses it to equalize without having to worry about leaks. But in water that was between 1 and 2 degrees Celsius, his lips numbed quickly and he had to clamp them shut with his fingers, his thumb and forefinger on his nose, his middle and ring fingers on his lips. So middle ring on your lips. That's like kind of disabling there. On the slow drop towards 80, Jim didn't show me trying to impersonate that. On the slow drop towards 80, what these athletes do is insane. If you study like the spearfishers who go down at this level, mostly in tropical water, like and that's why they call it skin diving. It is a remarkable feat. On the slow drop toward 80 meters, the sound of cracking ice rippled through the water. The barometric pressure cranked up, and it was painfully cold. His job was to accept it all and remain relaxed, no matter how awful it felt or what happened next. He arrived at the illuminated bottom plate, grabbed the black tag, and with an ever-dwindling oxygen supply, dolphin kicked back toward the hole in the ice. For the past 4 years, Alexei Molchanov has been the undisputed best all-around freediver in the world. He came of age traveling around the world. Anyway, more background on this, but just to point this out, really cool, just human optimization story. Now, turns out that today, as is often the case, a big chunk of our stories are human optimization. And I guess, let's see. Yeah, we can breeze through these last ones right before we get our guest on. Is our guest ready? Guest is backstage. All right, Jay, if you don't mind waiting just a minute, a couple quick stories to get past this human optimization block from goodnewsnetwork.org, trying to stop the epidemic of veteran suicides. Plant medicine company build mental wellness value chain, as GNN and others have reported the effectiveness of plant medicines. Anyway, now a Canadian former hospital administrator has pounced on that evidence, founding a company that specializes in utilizing plant medicines to give veterans, police, paramedics, ambulance staff, and firefighters the treatment they need to get back on the path to mental health and wellness. So we are going to definitely be coming back to that one with Homefront Battle Buddies. Also, from goodnewsnetwork.org, Georgia lab experiments show CBD reduces plaque and improves cognition in early onset Alzheimer's. Is there any fucking thing this plant cannot do? Seriously, being able to consume it in a healthy, regular form before you get Alzheimer's is it can't be a bad thing for a lot of reasons. All right, fun study that was or story that was shared in the Producers Club, just absolutely worth sharing from the conversation via MSN.com, a concept from physics called negentropy. Could help your life run smoother. Life is full of small decisions. Should I pick up that sock on the floor? Should I do the dishes before bed? What about fixing the leaky faucet in the bathroom? Leaving a sock on the ground is a manifestation of a concept from physics you may have heard of, entropy. Entropy is a measure of how much energy is lost in a system. If a system loses too much energy, it will disintegrate into chaos. It takes only a little bit of energy to pick up one sock, but if you don't take care of your yard, let pipes stay clogged, and never fix electrical problems, it all adds up to a chaotic home that will take a lot of energy to fix. And that chaos will leach away your time and ability to accomplish other things. The good news is that entropy has an opposite. Negentropy. Negentropy. You can say it with whatever cool pronunciation you want. As a researcher who studies social systems, I have found that thinking in terms of negentropy and energy can help you fight against entropy and chaos in your life. Minimize energy loss, maximize progress. So anyways, this is a really cool story. If you want to get into this, if you're into this sort of thing, and just like, because I think about this a lot, and I was excited to read this story and consider these ideas because, I feel like I do this a lot for myself, and I it's just sort of how I've trained my brain to work, or it works naturally, and I enjoy it. But just real quick, 5 steps for negentropic success. 1, find the entropy. 2, prioritize the losses. 3, come up with a plan. 4, try it out and pay attention. 5, go beyond fixing and maintenance. And this is where I need to go. I really need to organize this studio office building because it's going to be awesome and way more effective when it's done. But prioritize. We're building the cabin today, which gets us to our guest, ladies and gentlemen. Jay Nygaard, the Turbine Guy, joins us for an update on alternative energy as part of our Good News Friday show today. And I am very excited that he is going to be coming out here to Gardenia relatively soon here, I hope. I mean, last night we killed the batteries last night with a chop saw, doing some framing work on the cabin, and it got dark, and I was like, shit, I need a turbine, because it's like, I mean, even now, it was snowing this morning. I love this life, and I know you get alternative energy, but you're on grid there. You don't get to take outdoor showers in the snow, man, and have that powered by solar. That was freaking awesome this morning. But we need the win. So what's the update, and what's the latest you want to share with us today?
Well, first of all, I have done that. Look, I got a friend. I built my house. Yeah, here you go, everybody. This is the fuzzball, Terra Kitty.
Fur Baby Friday.
Yeah, there you go. But I built a house in Florida, and I lived in the house while I built it. And I had a hose from one neighbor and an extension cord from another. And I'd leave my hose coiled up in the sun all day so I'd have warm water for my shower at night. So I've been there.
Yeah. Well, that was Florida, though.
Yeah, well, you know what? When it's getting down to 38, 40 degrees, that's cold enough to make it difficult.
Does it ever snow in Florida? Like, it's like a once every 20 years they get a freak dusting or something?
I haven't really seen that. What'll happen though is it'll get cold enough to freeze stuff. It'll get down below 32, maybe 25 degrees. But where we are down by Fort Myers, it's subtropical. So pretty much most of the year it's tropical, and the rest of the year it's dry.
Yeah. So here I was showering outside in a foot of snow. Literally a foot of snow on the ground. It's the mountains, man. But you're coming at the nicest time of year, almost. It gets a little nicer, but mid early spring. Although I don't know, today it seems like we're having a bit of a late winter. We had snow this morning. It was, it's more like slush, and just nothing sticking. But when are you going to be able to come out? Tell us about this trip. We're excited to have you here.
I got my plans. They're all set in stone. I'm leaving on Tuesday morning, and I don't like to go the easy way, so I'm heading myself through South Dakota and Wyoming, 2 free states, right, where no masking or nothing. Head down to Colorado State, my kid's place for a night. Then I'm heading down to yours. So I plan on being in Flagstaff Friday night.
Excellent, excellent. So next weekend, man, that's exciting. So a week from today, hopefully we'll see you here. If not, a week and a day on Saturday. Well, I'm excited here because we are totally ready to take this thing, and we have the rest of the system set up. We got the solar panels, the battery, inverter, charge controller, move, and this was a big feat for me. I did the interior electrical. I had some help from our friend Pat Lewis here, but I wired a breaker box. I assume you've done this before. And there was some, maybe you could speak to this, but there was something that struck me about how fucking hard it was to find instructions online. Like
Yep.
it's a, and I found this in general throughout the building trades a little bit when it comes to zoning and code and standards, and even going to Home Depot, you get a sense of how government is involved in building trades in such a way that it's rent seeking behavior by certain corrupt elements of the construction and timber industry, right? Why do buildings have to be made with material that does this, which meets this criteria? Why do you have to have all these licenses, all this government permission to do electric work? And they've sort of scared people into thinking, well, if you don't know what you're doing with electric in your house, you're going to kill yourself. It's like, do you not understand how a safety switch works? You can disconnect the system, work on it, and then plug it back in and test it. It's really that simple. And yet they even for me as a guy building a cabin out here, trying to learn how to wire in a regular breaker box, which is a very simple concept, functionally, they make it hard for me to even just look up instructions to do this online. Am I
Yeah.
crazy?
No, not at all. And there's a couple things that go into that. One is the regulations are typically all over the board depending on what state you go to and where you are. So, like if you're trying to do something in California or Florida, that's the worst place to try to build anything. By the way, that's where I built my house in Florida, and so that's terrible.
Did you do it like with permission? You did it by the book?
I got all my permits and passed all my inspections. Yeah, I bought the house framed up, so it was a stilted house with windows, doors, and roof, but nothing on the inside. So I had to put it all together.
So you had the septic and general structure permit when you started?
No, we ended up getting that. I hired someone to put the septic system in. That's a little beyond me. There's a few things that are beyond you code wise when it comes to places like Florida or California. And for instance, if you're going to build a house, you just have to have an architect in Florida, and you got to have a packet this thick because that's just the way it works down there. Well, you can understand with all the hurricanes going through there, and I think it was Hurricane Andrew went through in '92 or something, just devastated a lot of stuff, and that's when they revamped a lot of their codes. Now, don't forget, all these codes are to protect you.
Hold on, revamp their codes. It needs to be translated from status into regular languages. They took advantage of the opportunity provided by the disaster to fuck people over more and pay off their sponsors, whoever it is that's lining their pockets, by giving them more favorable regulations for their particular construction business.
Well, one thing it did do was cause the construction of houses to increase. So all the contractors are making more money. They have more work to do. For instance, our house, it was built right after, and there's straps everywhere, all along, holding that roof down. You wouldn't believe all the metal straps this house had. And then go try sheetrocking the wall. You end up with corners just full of mud to even everything out. It's interesting, but there are certain instances where I can see it is helpful to have certain regulations, but sometimes I got to agree they do go way overboard. And this idea that everybody's got to be specifically licensed to do everything is kind of ridiculous, because I kind of do everything myself. Like I've gone through circuit panels. I put in a solar system next door on a house we own all by myself, every little bit of it. And what I did was to help you was I made videos about it so that people can go online and see how to do it.
Well, you know how many pages of zoning and code apply to us here in Gardenia, right?
Yeah, probably one or two. Now, you got to have the page where it says, don't really worry about it. that
No,
kind of
'cause
thing.
we're sovereign. No, but when you say that there's an appropriate role for regulations, I kind of want to challenge that and say there's an appropriate role for society to make sure that the natural law is being respected. I mean, there really only needs to be one regulation, which is, don't use your property in a way that interferes with other people's usage of theirs. And
Well,
what's the standard of that? There's a sort of social consensus around that. But if it's about creating something that's safe for unsafe, you don't need regulations. You can have private certification. You can have a private, building certificate. And this would be connected to insurance. This is how a free society would achieve that same function in a better way. And that in order to get a building insured, you have to have it inspected. And if it's inspected as safe, then you get cheaper insurance for it. If it's
Yep.
unsafe, then you have more expensive insurance. And that's how it's incentivized. If you, the builder on your own property, you still have the right to do whatever you want, as long as you're not interfering with somebody else's use of their property. But Jay, I want to get to the bigger point from this electrical thing and bring it back to the turbines, because given all of that, what's happening now with YouTube University, that you can Google anything and do anything that anybody has ever done before, practically, right? In terms of construction these days, including wire a fuse box or a breaker box if you have to. And especially with solar, and I say solar, referring to just solar, wind, off-grid power in general, but that people taking charge of that is giving them a lot more of a sense of I don't need an expert. I can break out of this, and even for me, like moving this solar setup across the property and putting it back together, it's like, okay, a bit of an exercise for me. Every time I feel like I have a better grasp of that. Do you see that, like, with what you're doing with turbines, is shifting that attitude at a more fundamental level?
Well, I'm all about what you're saying is helping people empower themselves. And especially when it comes to providing your own electricity, because we got to admit that's pretty much a basis of modern day civilization. If we didn't have electricity, where would we be? But to have to rely on somebody else all the time is ridiculous. And I know that personally because I got a sump pump in my house here that when the power goes out the 3 times a year, when it does during a storm, my house would be flooded if I didn't have my backup battery bank and everything. So it's super important to do that. But my main goal is to empower people like you or others to do this for themselves, to be able to provide the equipment, provide a design, help you figure out how to install it, and do all of this stuff yourself. There's no reason that you should have to go pay someone $8,000 to install a solar system on your house when you can change a window or change a toilet in your house. You're obviously capable of putting a big erector set together. Let's put that erector set together, and I'm here for you. Like I said, I can help you design it. I can supply the system for you, and then all you have to do is the work. And then if you run into any complications, I'm here to help you.
That's awesome. So, Jay, what's the cutting edge right now? What are you excited about in this world? Is it the Tesla battery bank? Is it wind turbines becoming more reliable and inexpensive? Is it the demand? I mean, there's so many things to celebrate, but what's got you most excited right now?
Well, what's got me most excited in the renewable world right now isn't Tesla batteries. And I'll tell you, I stay away from Tesla. Why would you buy something from a company that's never made $1? It just makes no sense to me. But the cool
Take it,
thing,
get your piece of their government subsidies. If it's the right choice, I get your objection. I totally get it. But if
Yep.
your objection is because government is subsidized to such an extent that's your tax dollars are in their products.
Yeah.
You should get your tax money back, right? If it's
Well,
right.
and that's the thing with the solar right now. There's a 26% federal tax credit. So if you're installing any of that, jump on it. You got the federal government paying a quarter of it. But getting back to what I said, there's so many unique ideas coming out right now when it comes to renewable energy. Think in the Netherlands, they have sidewalks that produce energy when you walk across them. So people keep sending me this article about a turbine that basically does this in the wind, just a pole that sits up there and vibrates. And, micro hydro is becoming pretty big. If you live near a stream, you can have a constant source of electricity off of that stream. There's so many things you can do now. And to back all that up, the battery technology is getting better and better and better. Like I said, stay away from Tesla. There's plenty of other products out there. I'm installing a Generac system now with a battery backup that's Generac, and you open it up and they're actually Panasonic batteries stuck in the Generac. Whole point is, though, these things are so compact and so powerful compared to the old car style batteries that they're going to last you a good 10 to 15 to 20 years, and you're not going to have to worry about them. It's so exciting, all the unique things coming into be right now.
Excellent, excellent. So, anything you want to plug before you go, Jay? Anything you want to talk about? Anything else on your mind in the world of alternative energy?
As you know, I'm heading down from Minnesota to Arizona, and I got another wind turbine used I could sell. Same thing I'm going to install for you. I've got a turbine, a pole, and a charge controller. And if anyone along the way wants it, I can stop off and drop it off somewhat along the way. $1,800 is what I'll sell it for. These turbines themselves retail for $2,500 plus shipping. And I'm giving you a barely used turbine, which, yeah, it's been outside, but it hasn't spun a lot because of the location it was in. So I've got that to offer anyone. I do want to plug my business one more time. Go to my website, gogreenenergyonline.com, and contact me if you do want to design your own system. I just got a guy from Boston or near Boston that contacted me, an electrician. He's going to install his own system, so I've been working on designing with him. And that's what's really fun about this business right now, is I can do all of this stuff and I can help you out from here, from home. And I think that is super, super cool that, we don't have to know each other. We don't have to, but we can work together and we can get your project designed and done, and then you can be off the grid. And that's really important now, because all I see is the price of electricity going up with the new regime we have in office.
So if you can commit to the time, next Saturday, April 3rd, we can hear. I'd like to just extend the invitation to people who have been to Gardenia before, at least if you want to come out that weekend and just hang out and see this turbine go in and see Jade's other one and check out the cabin and what we're doing there. It's very exciting. So mark your calendar if you want to come out to Gardenia April 3rd, and then email me, adam@freedomline.com, if you want to be a part of it. Jay, thanks for joining us. Anything else on your mind today?
No, I just can't tell you how excited I am to head down there. And it's really kind of cool because my little buddy, my dog, he's been to most states, but he ain't been to Arizona yet. So he's coming.
Excellent, excellent. Well, thanks for joining us today, Jay. All right, let's get Fina back up on stage here, checking with the audience before we get to our next 4 blocks of the show here. We still got a lot of news to go. So much good news. I don't know if I can take it. How are you doing today, Fina? Are you keeping up?
The sun's coming up. I am keeping up. And we had a lot of great comments and a lot of great discussion going on with our last guest from Florida. And they were talking about zoning right, or zoning laws and whatnot. And I'll put this one up. Cynthia Godwin. Sorry, I'm terrible with names. DeLacy. You know what? I'm going to call you Cynthia if you don't mind. Do you think your own house is yours because you bought and paid for it, but then every year you get a bill for property taxes? Who gets that money?
Yeah, no, that's. I mean, I've made that point many times in less eloquent words, but yes, ownership under a government is an illusion. They say you own. I mean, they don't even bother to say you own yourself, but you own your car, you own your house. No, it's all at the privilege of government, because if you don't pay them, they take it away. Now, I've done my best to minimize this. When we go independent here, we're going to probably stop. I think as a disabled veteran in my county, I can opt out of property taxes at some level. I got to look into that paperwork. But here, the property that I bought, my property tax is $200 a year, and most people who pay property taxes are like eye-popping, jaw-drop, jealous when they hear that. If you have to pay property tax on a shed within city limits, it's going to be more than what I pay out here for 10 acres.
Yeah, we had some more comments. I'm not getting a lot of weed comments like that I was hoping, but I'm starting. I've got a list. So Yeah, I don't have any more super chats. He gave us all of the contact information. Oh, I did have a request for Jim's donation to be put up on we already did that. We did that. Okay. But there was one audience member that's said that they're willing to give $100 today too. And so that would not matching it.
We should remind people that FINA is agreed to match donations up to $300 today. It's going to get us a big chunk of the way to our goal for getting James a new smile. But I think for people watching this, because our bigger audience is not live, I would say you want to extend this till Monday, essentially, if since the Friday show.
Oh, I ain't that rich, Adam. I'm kind of hoping.
No, but it's still limited to $300. I'm just saying, if you're watching this show over the weekend and we haven't squeezed $300 out of FINA yet, you should still donate to this GoFundMe that will be in the notes to the show, or at least in our public telegram. I don't think it was in the notes. We'll put it separately right now.
It's today only. It's Friday. It's payday. I'm a one day.
Today.
It's today. It is today. It's like today. If I can, if I find time every day, I've found time every day to figure out like what's the Adam quote of the day, and I listen to like 2 hours. These people listen. They listen to 2 hours. You know, give Jim a smile. Give Jim. A smile.
Yeah. All right. Back to the tech news then. Or tech. What do we call it? Cutting edge of tech innovation. Automotive News Europe, europe.autonews.com. Mercedes to unveil flagship electric sedan with Tesla beating battery. That's right. Despite Tesla's corporate profiteering from corporatism and government subsidies, there is competition from another major corporate entity, at least. But yeah, seeing that there's competition in this realm, we may be turning the corner towards electric cars being the dominant means of transportation. Mercedes to unveil flagship electric sedan with Tesla beating battery. They don't beat Nikolai Tesla's dead body with a battery, don't worry. EQS will be the first Mercedes built on dedicated electric car underpinnings. Mercedes-Benz is about to unveil a new flagship model that expects to boast market-leading battery range, following through on its pledge to compete in the electric vehicle segment with top technology. The April 15 debut of the EQS, the first Mercedes built on dedicated electric car underpinnings, will mark a milestone for the German brand that has been criticized for taking too long to embrace EVs. Next story in tech innovation from Good News Network. Hemp is already being used in walls and insulation as a game changer in the construction industry. And I'm looking at the picture with this story, and it's like it's giving me a construction boner. To see this roof so covered in solar panels, and to see some of these cool designs with the windows and what it looks like are actual hempcrete walls. And from what I've studied with hempcrete years ago, and I've poo-pooed it publicly, that it's sort of limited in its applications. But as I'm learning more about conventional construction, actually seeing the potential in creating insulated space with hempcrete is actually pretty incredible. And I'd like to do something to experiment with it out here when we get to that. But there's still so much I want to do with solid mass buildings and passive solar, and that is one thing you cannot do with hempcrete. Although it can, even in buildings like that, you do need in many times insulation as part of the structure, and being able to use hempcrete instead of conventional insulation like we're doing right now with the pink foams fiberglass shit would be definitely a leap forward for humanity. And as it becomes legal, yeah, and this is one of those sort of inevitable, technology rendering government obsolete stories where the control of the construction industry is going to go away as tech innovations just kind of leapfrog the regulations. Also, goodnewsnetwork.org. Bike tires that need no air are made from NASA rover tech, but soon will be available to any cyclist. It's about time. Originally invented by NASA for use on lunar and Mars rover missions, there's a new kind of bicycle tire that's elastic like rubber, yet strong like titanium. It exhibits perfect shape memory without ever going flat. Essentially, it's the tire of dreams, made in gold, silver, and metallic blue. Metal tires, METL, are made from advanced lightweight material known as nitinol plus. They're the first ever consumer application of the alloy tire technology NASA will use to get future rover missions out of rough terrain without a hiccup or puncture. And they're being developed as a partnership with a startup Smart Tire Company. Very cool stuff. And I've been looking at these NFTs for a while, and I'm starting to think this is all a scam. It's just rich people sending money back and forth, and maybe using it. Like, you think about it this way: if you have like, if you wanted to make this NFT, non-fungible token thing, as in you're buying a digital unique asset, actually, the value of it is purely sentimental. There's no physical object. There's nothing that isn't replicable by copy and paste. So the idea that Jack Dorsey is getting in on this, Twitter founder, sold his first tweet for $700,000 or something crazy like that. Maybe it was more than that, because this one is 700,000 here in this story. But if there were like a handful of dudes who said, we want to make NFTs a thing and scam people into buying low value NFTs, they just sell shit back and forth. And then they get to create these legitimate stories of certain NFTs going for millions of dollars. And they're even able to like break off a few $10,000, maybe $100,000 here to make some dumb artist freakishly rich for no reason. And they go, oh no, look, it's a thing. See, some people are, and then they generate the artist interest as well. And then the small consumer thinks, oh, well, rich people are doing this. There must be something to this. This is a thing. And they get tricked into going to these NFT clearinghouses online, and the owners of those businesses make a shit ton of money off of suckers who are born every minute. Humanoid robot Sophia sells 12-second video NFT for almost $700,000. This from futurism.com. What's next? Robots buying other robots' digital artwork? You see why I figured it out when I read this story today? Robots are taking over the art world. Take, for instance, celebrity humanoid robot Sophia, which just sold a digital artwork as a non-fungible token for $688,888. Yeah. Not getting into that story any more than that. In global warming, fighting global warming, science panel, Associated Press is this headline, science panel, consider air cooling tech as climate backup. Really? Didn't we cover Bill Gates trying to chalk the world to block the sun to fight global warming? You're just going to be inhaling a lot of chalk particles. Yeah. But now they're making this look like a good thing. The U.S. must seriously consider the idea of tinkering with the atmosphere to cool a warming Earth and accelerate research into how and whether humanity should hack the planet, the National Academy of Sciences said Thursday. I'm inclined to say no. Let's not meddle with things. All right, now to our exploration blog. Shockingly few stories in this category today, although there were some, like, I don't know, when I get stories about understanding space, do I put that in exploration or do I put that in understanding nature, right? So exploration today, we have like a really good story of actual practical exploration. NBC via MSN.com, mission to clean up space debris around Earth is poised for launch. There is a growing junkyard in space. Yes, low Earth orbit, a narrow band of space relatively close to the Earth's surface, is crowded with thousands of tons of space debris, objects as large as defunct satellites and spent rocket parts, all the way down to nuts, bolts, and flecks of paint. On Saturday, a new mission is set to launch that aims to clean up some of the debris that is languishing in orbit around the planet, known as ELSA-D, capitals ELSA dash lowercase d. The mission will test technologies to capture an object in low Earth orbit and move it to a lower altitude where it will eventually burn up harmlessly in Earth's atmosphere. Now, thousands of tons burn up harmlessly. Is there significant pollution? Like, how much shit have we actually got up there? But I get the concept. Pretty exciting, right? You know, like I talk about, we're going to innovate our way out of a lot of, like, there's the problem with pollution is that we lose not the raw resources and the temporary experience, the temporary reduction in quality of life, but that we lose permanent things like natural environments, biodiversity, and the time lost of being good shepherds of our planet. But I'm very confident in terms of the bigger problems of being able to innovate our way out of them. And this is one of those examples. Concerns if successful, LCD could pave the way for future commercial services that reduce the amount of debris in space and promote more sustainable operations in orbit. Oh, is this Elon Musk's next big contract with government? Concerns about space debris have grown in recent years as low Earth orbit has become more congested, and as society's reliance on satellite systems for telecommunications, GPS, and myriad other everyday functions has grown. Overcrowding in orbit is also exacerbated by companies such as SpaceX and OneWeb that are assembling huge mega constellations of internet satellites around Earth. Bits of space junk, which fly through orbit at up to 18,000 miles per hour, can threaten other functioning spacecraft and pose safety risks to astronauts on the International Space Station. Astroscale, the private company behind the LCD mission, is hoping its technologies will open up a market for orbital debris removal. This is an issue like plastics in the ocean, says John Auburn, Astroscale's managing director in the UK. We've been working for 8 years to turn a difficult problem into a business. And I mean, just the general technology of this is very cool. But, you know, who pays for this, right? I think there are a lot of people who have an interest, you know, for in this, you call this a sort of open natural resource that you really can't homestead. You can only pollute, right? I mean, you can occupy space in orbit, which would be so insignificant. I mean, you think about the space on the surface of the Earth being huge but finite. Well, when you're talking about orbit, there's miles and miles of layers that you could occupy of that space. So you really can't homestead Earth's orbit, but you can pollute it. And if you put an object into orbit that then maybe hits something else or falls down, then you should be liable for that, right? I mean, hypothetically, if I 3D print my next rocket ship here, and I want to go, you know, visit the moon for a weekend, and I'm flying up, and as I'm going out of Earth orbit, you know, one of Elon Musk's bits of space garbage just comes zooming in at 18,000 miles an hour and happens to hit me. I mean, I guess the odds of that would be so infinitesimally small as to be almost insignificant. But if you're in orbit and now there's these tens of thousands or whatever, what is it? I should know this. This is a crazy number. This is a really crazy number. Thousands of tons of space debris. Thousands of tons. So I guess if you have to avoid it now, if you're in orbit, you're bearing that extra cost of avoiding that junk. But, you know, if someone puts something up there and makes that pollution and then, you know, goes out of business or dies, can you still hold somebody responsible? I don't think so. A lot of people would want to say, well, you got to turn to government. But this is an example where you already see, I mean, NASA, I assume, is responsible for at least a very big chunk of that garbage. And it's private. We go to space, what is the next level of technology for humanity? And it's private companies picking up after government. Yeah, we're going to clean up their mess. Nice. And really, it's all of us who have an interest, as the story says, for telecommunications, for satellites, whatever else it may be, all of us who have an interest in keeping that part of space clear of junk are going to pay to clean it up one way or another. Futurism.com. Emergency alarm reportedly goes off on SpaceX Dragon capsule docked to space station. And it's funny, like, this is how I hear about this story or these kinds of stories, but like really, What is the SpaceX Dragon capsule docked to the space station? Dragon Resilience keeping the ISS crew on their toes. So here we go. Fire. The SpaceX crew Dragon, dubbed Resilience, currently docked to the International Space Station after launching in November of last year, just reportedly scared the bejesus out of the station's crew. The capsule enunciated false emergency messages for fire and rapid depress, as well as other erroneous messages yesterday. NASA space flight managing editor Chris Bergen reported in a Thursday afternoon tweet. ISS crew ran responses for fire and rapid depress, but stood down once stable readings were confirmed. Dragon Resilience keeping the ISS crew on their toes, Bergen added. Crew Dragon Resilience and the station are both in good health after these events, NASA space flight reporter Tyler Gray clarified in a reply on Twitter. So it was a false alarm. And, is this a big deal? I kind of wish there was video of this and you could see it like a movie scene. Where is it just like, false alarm? Readings are good? Okay, turn it off. Or is it like, oh my God, we're all going to die. We're all going to die. Wait, we're not going to die? Okay, we're not going to die. Because, that's space for you until we get more reliable technology and this turns into an episode of. I hope space is more like our lives in space are more like the Orville than Star Trek, because at least it'll be funnier. BigThink.com, less advanced alien. All right, you ready, guys? For our alien block today, we actually have four. No, we have four. Four solid alien stories today. Do we have the video for that? I want to believe.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you will, look right here.
All right. I also needed a minute in my low-tech studio here while we're talking about aliens to turn my propane heater back on, and it doesn't seem to be working. I'll leave. Oh, yeah, thanks. All right, bigthink.com. Less advanced alien civilizations may be nearby, but we're not looking for them. Humans are more likely to have first contact with an advanced alien civilization, according to a recent NASA-funded paper. A new paper outlines some of the most promising ways scientists and space agencies can search for evidence of extraterrestrial civilizations because of a concept called contact inequality. The researchers suggest it's relatively unlikely humans will discover evidence of alien civilizations that have similar levels of technology to us. However, near future technology could soon allow scientists to search for both highly advanced and less advanced civilizations. Now, this next story is one that seems to be making waves. We've seen this sent in from a variety of different sources, but we go to the Daily Mail via MSN.com for this version. U.S. has evidence of UFOs breaking sound barrier without a sonic boom. The U.S. has evidence of UFOs breaking the sound barrier without a sonic boom and making maneuvers impossible with known technology, the former director of national intelligence has revealed. The revelations increased excitement about a forthcoming report detailing what the U.S. government has observed. John Ratcliffe, who served as Donald Trump's director of national intelligence, said that many of the incidents still have no easy explanation. As he told Fox News, there are a lot more sightings than have been made public. Some of those have been declassified. When we talk about sightings, we are talking about objects that have been seen by Navy or Air Force pilots or have been picked up by satellite imagery that frankly engage in actions that are difficult to explain. Movements that are hard to replicate that we don't have the technology for, or traveling at speeds that exceed the sound barrier without a sonic boom. Now, about that thing in particular, I think it's more likely that they made a mistake in their measuring, or they missed the sonic boom phenomena, or some other misunderstanding there. But there's sort of like, there are really only three possibilities with a story like this. And one is they're aliens and they're doing weird shit, right? And coming here to fuck with us somehow. Or there are other governments or secret government agencies within the U.S. government, or even private companies that have technology that are able to fuck with the military and fuck with us by not telling us that they're out there, or this is some kind of spy plane from government. I think that's even more likely. Governments spying on each other, militaries spying on each other. And either way, someone's fucking with us, or it could be another asshole from the Trump administration completely making shit up in order to fuck with us. Seeing a theme here? Ratcliffe told host Maria Bartiromo that the sightings of unidentified aerial phenomena had been observed all around the world. When we talk about sightings, the other thing I will tell you is it's not just a pilot or a satellite or some intelligence collection. Usually we have multiple sensors that are picking up these things, and some of these are unexplained phenomena, and there's actually quite a few more that have been made public. And that, too, really should be disturbing if you think about, well, hey, they've got these things, they've got the evidence, and they're not making it public. Sounds like, once again, government is fucking with us. And my heater's working now, so my toes won't be frozen. I won't have COVID toes by the end of the show today. Don't worry about me, guys. All right, SputnikNews.com. Someone said there is no aliens that are not real. No, that's birds. Birds aren't real. Aliens are real. Because SputnikNews.com says so. Their headline here, ET Intel, scientists discover clues to emissions of intergalactic fast radio bursts, study says. Researchers have arrived at the most precise time estimates to date pertaining to the mystery of so-called fast radio bursts, which are abrupt pulses from distant cosmic worlds that typically come in odd patterns, thus spawning the wildest theories from those about interacting stars all the way to alien life. An international team of astronomers has looked into a repeating short-scale fast radio burst, commonly referred to by the abbreviation FRB, and revealed its microstructure or pattern of variable brightness, according to a study published in Nature Astronomy. The newly applied technique in the probe, whereby the team led by Kenzie Nimmo, a PhD student at the Anton Pannekoek Institute of Astronomy at the University of Amsterdam, studied the burst's signature at extremely minute periods within its millisecond-long pulses, can unveil clues into FRB emission techniques, the paper says. The researchers managed to obtain this high time resolution data on FRB 180916, a mind-blowing repeating radio pulse that operates on a 16-day cycle from the European Very Long Baseline Interferometry Network, which is made up of advanced telescopes based on 4 continents. So yeah, anyway, this is one of those things I'm going to let you get deeper into it on your own. Notes at t.me/Adam versus the man. But now we go to Elon Musk to wrap up our alien segment from futurism.com. Elon Musk has an interesting argument against UFOs. And now there's I can't believe we haven't examined this before, or society hasn't fixed the rhetoric around this. But he's not arguing against UFOs. He's arguing against aliens. A UFO and this is the military term originally, right? Unidentified flying object. It's a UFO. It's like, well, it's a bird, it's a plane. Is it Superman? I don't know. It's a UFO because I can't identify it. And it's sort of like conspiracy versus conspiracy theory. The misuse of these terms really is kind of strange. As he said, honestly, I think I would know if there were aliens. The strongest argument, Tesla and SpaceX CEO Elon Musk waded into the world of UFO sightings this week, claiming his latest meme is the strongest argument against aliens. And the graph shows how the resolution of cameras has risen since the 19th century, even while images of UFO sightings have remained incredibly pixelated and low quality. He even got a like from Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey. Musk isn't a believer, that's for sure. To the best of my knowledge, there is no direct evidence of alien life on Earth, Musk told Joe Rogan in a February interview. Honestly, I think I would know if there were aliens, to which Rogan replied, I would hope so. Musk also told the podcaster that it's a waste of time to search for aliens. I don't know about that. So now we go into what are we into? I guess we're switching to understanding nature now, even though we're starting with some big stories. Daily Mail from MSN.com. Alien mask, Elon Musk. Ooh, that must be what he really is. So blobs of dense rock could be remnants of Theia study finds. Really cool graphic with the story of a moon smashing into a planet. Blobs of rock lurking deep inside the planet could be the last remaining pieces of Theia, an early world that collided with Earth billions of years ago, a new study claims. The moon is thought to have formed a giant impact early in the evolution of the solar system when a Mars-sized planet called Theia collided with the Earth. Deep within the Earth are a number of strange, huge blobs of dense rock called large, low shear velocity provinces. And a team from Arizona State University believes these massive regions may be parts of that long destroyed proto world. One of these LLSVPs is buried under Africa and another deep below the Pacific Ocean, both so large they are involved with the weakening of Earth's magnetic field, which is probably how they were found, right? Qian Yuan, author of this theory, suggests that blobs which straddle the Earth's core like headphones are denser and chemically different to the rock surrounding them. Very cool story. Next one, even more, I guess, inner exploration for understanding nature. AFP from MSN.com. Evidence emerges of brand new physics at CERN. Scientists believe they may have discovered a brand new force of nature at CERN's Large Hadron Collider that could explain why certain atomic particles behave unexpectedly and which may transform our understanding the rudiments of physics. Bad Miss Wordos. Excuse me. Authors of the research said this week that the results could get physicists' hearts beating just a little bit faster, which is really what the world needs, after they discovered evidence of a brand new type of particle. Since its inception over a decade ago, the Large Hadron Collider.
Okay, so we lost Adam. I'm gonna assume his battery died.
Oh no.
Yep. Hi, Pino. Welcome.
Hi, Jim.
Good to see you.
It was me.
Good.
Yep. Battery. That's like the third day in a row on his battery. Just saying, he should rectify that situation.
All right. Well, I guess until he gets back, I'll talk. So
Yeah, he's never gone long.
All right. So we'll figure that out. So I'm not getting a lot of comments about weed. Well, I'm getting some, but so I want to hear some good names for weed. Like we've already heard ganja, we've heard skunk dog, and we've heard herb, weed, and I kind of want to say that maybe shit might be one. Maybe. I mean, did you get the shit? Yeah. Shit's like one of those generic words that goes for like any illicit substance you want to get. It's called shit. Yeah.
You get the shit.
Yeah. I think
it's not my preferred term, but yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Hey.
Get on your ass. That's good. Yeah.
That's a new one. I have not heard that. That's a good one. Sorry for the technical difficulties, everybody. So thanks for jumping in there, Fina. We are almost done skimming through our Understanding Nature story. Then we'll come back to you in just a few minutes. So back to the Large Hadron Collider story. Since its inception over a decade ago, the LHC has sought to delve into the secrets of the universe by studying the smallest discrete particles of matter as they collide at nearly the speed of light. Aside from the discovery of the Higgs boson, a previously theoretical particle that gives matter mass, the project has so far failed to shed much light on how the building blocks of matter function. I wonder if that whole thing's really just a show, like just a way to get money out of government. I doubt it. All right, sorry about that. Good News Network. In world first, key African species will be relocated to another continent after it became extinct. In India, a team of experts from South Africa and Namibia are helping to relocate a population of cheetahs to India in an ambitious restoration program that just got the go-ahead. It would be the first time ever that a major predator was moved intercontinentally to reestablish a population where it had once been, and India is working hard to make sure it goes well. The majestic cheetah, iconic of the African bush, once roamed an area from the steppes of Turkey all the way to the dry forests and grasslands of India's western and central regions, now critically endangered. Perhaps fewer than 50 Asiatic cheetahs are alive today and are only found in Iran, with Indian monarchs hunting the animal to extinction in the subcontinent by the 1950s. 20 years later, significant reintroduction effort was made with the Asiatic cheetah from Iran, but successes never materialized. Now, I wonder here if you can go, well, we've screwed up the environment this way. We're going to undo it this way. Could we enhance it this way? Because we're never going to be able to completely unfuck it how we fucked it up properly, right? And when it comes to even designing native species balances in the wild, we're coming to a new era of like natural resource management just by the awareness and the resources being able to be brought to bear on this. It's a very exciting time of really re-engineering our planet entirely, or at least whatever spaces within it that we want. Speaking of which, also Good News Network, island overrun with rats completely recovers in only 11 years after ecosystem has been decimated. Formerly known as Rat Island, this beautiful spot in the Aleutian Islands has become a new example of how ecosystems can fully recover to their natural state in little more than a decade. Along the western edge of the Alaskan archipelago, the land had inadvertently become populated with rodents, leading to the ignominious name Rat Island. The non-native invaders were accidentally introduced to these islands following shipwrecks dating back to the 1700s and World War II occupation. Known to be among the most damaging invasive animals, the resilient rodents adapted and thrived in the new setting, overwhelming the island ecosystems, disrupting the natural ecological order and driving out native species. But a coordinated conservation effort removed the rats on the renamed Hawadex Island, and a new study led by a University of California, San Diego researcher has documented the remarkable recovery. As Carolyn Curl said, we were surprised that the level of recovery unfolded so quickly. We thought it could be longer. Curl, along with researchers from UC Santa Cruz, conducted surveys on Hawadex in 2008 when the invasive rodents dominated the island ecosystem, finding that the rats unleashed a cascade of disruption for the island's food chain. Rats preyed upon shorebirds' eggs and chicks, nearly wiping out the island's breeding shorebird population. Without birds consuming herbivore seashore invertebrates such as snails and limpets, the island's intertidal plant eaters flourished, significantly driving down the abundance of the marine kelp. To reverse these effects, a coordinated conservation strategy to save the native species on Hawadex removed the rats with poison in 2008 and presented a rare case in which researchers were able to compare the ecosystem after 5 years and later found a recovered system after 11 years. Sometimes it's hard to, as Curl wrote, sometimes it's hard to say that a conservation action had any sort of impact, but in this particular case, we took a conservation action that was expensive and difficult, and we actually demonstrated that it worked, but we didn't expect it to be so fast. So who knows? Maybe we can tinker with nature. After the rat eradication effort, U.S. Fish and blah, 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 seabirds returned and are again consuming the seashore invertebrates, which has allowed the recovery and rebound of the kelp community. Quote, when the birds returned, it led to an entirely different structure in the marine community on this island. Now to the octopi. Octopus research yields insight into the evolution of sleep. The octopus is an extraordinary creature, and not only because of its 8 limbs, 3 hearts, blue blood, ink squirting, camouflage capacity, and the tragic fact that it dies after mating. A study by researchers in Brazil published on Thursday shows that this animal, already considered perhaps the smartest invertebrate, experiences 2 major alternating sleep states eerily similar to those in humans, and it might even dream. The findings, researchers said, provide fresh evidence that the octopus possesses a complex and sophisticated neurobiology that underlies an equally sophisticated behavioral repertoire. while also offering broader insight into the evolution of sleep, a crucial biological function. Octopuses previously were known to experience sleep and change colors while slumbering. In the new study, the researchers observed a species of called Octopus insularis in a lab. They found that these color changes are associated with two distinct sleep states: quiet sleep and active sleep. During quiet sleep, the octopus remains still with pale skin and eye pupils contracted to a slit. During active sleep, it dynamically changes its skin color and texture and moves both eyes while contracting its suckers and body with muscular twitches. Crazy. So this is the analog to REM and non-REM, rapid eye movement sleep in humans. So crazy. If, as they said, if octopuses indeed dream, it is unlikely that they experience complex symbolic plots like we do. Well, that's rather presumptuous, isn't it? So yes, expect songs and poems about octopus dreams. I think this is a rather inspiring topic, but maybe not as fun as our next story, where we have a little video for those of you watching the video production here from GoodNewsNetwork.org. Watch what happens when an octopus steals a tennis ball from a border collie. Jim, you got the video there? And for those of you who don't have an appreciation for octopi intelligence, aside from knowing now that they sleep in multiple phases and might even dream, they are some of the smartest animals on the planet. And one more reason, even calamari, I don't eat anything with a face. With that, let's get co-host Fina back here to round out Fina Friday Good News episode. It's been a lot of fun today, a lot of good stories. I hope you guys have been having as much fun in the comments as I have, because you haven't left a lot up for me to really respond to. But you have some contests. What do you have that you got to share here?
Yeah, I didn't expect you to respond to them necessarily. I watched like our show last week, you know, kind of reflected on it, and I thought that I thought of like there was that one video where you had like the head and eyeballs and stuff, and I put like smoke weed every day up there, and I was just laughing because I'm sure someone at some point is going to take that little video clip and be like, here's the news, smoke weed every day, some weird shit, you know. And but anyways, people make a lot of relevant comments, and today's contest was about the best weed nickname or weed comment, and I've been getting them. Okay, so if I can scroll through it, I remember you guys were telling me to, like, you know, cut and paste some shit, but I just didn't get it because there's a lot of comments here. So I'm gonna have to tell you the ones that I remember, and I wrote them all down. So Christy Bowman Price called it skunk dog earlier, and this one was one of my favorites from Healthy Disrespect for Authority. Herb will get you through times of no money. Better than money will get you through times of no weed. And I'd like to smoke a little bit to that, if you don't mind.
Here.
Yeah.
Smoke weed every day. Smoke weed every day. Smoke weed every day.
I need to reload. I'll be back. Don't worry. Keep going.
All right. So, made that ball again. That was excellent. Nice. Very nice.
Really good stuff.
John Smith, who did a super chat for the 420, did $4.20 in honor of 420. That was really nice. He also was talking about how he grows his weed, and he uses, of course, because it's Friday. What does he use for his fertilizer? Right. But anyways, he called it that. So I liked that little just talking about growing weed in general. But then we had some Daniel Davey did Puff Puff Pass, and Ganja was from Too Unique. Let's see if we got any more, because I've got a lot of comments I need to like scroll through. Oh, Fire in a Hole, yeah. There we go. Devil's Lettuce. Oh, I did like Devil's Lettuce. Where'd it go? Devil's Lettuce.
I like
Anyway,
Devil's Lettuce.
yeah, I think if we don't have we've got to have healthy disrespect for authority already in the producers club, don't we?
I think
Yeah.
so.
For sure. Okay. And John Smith?
Don't know.
Don't know. Okay. What about
I don't know any John Smiths.
You don't know any John Smiths? Well,
No,
and he
I've never heard of him.
And he did the super chat. I think he needs to be in the producers club.
I know a John Doe. Are they related?
Perhaps. Actually, you know what? I've met a couple of John Smiths in my life. Like, not even, I can't even, I know at least 3 offhand just when I was in the military. John Smith. Who knows?
People still name their kids John Smith?
Wasn't that Pocahontas? Yeah, that was the Pocahontas guy too. So let's see. No super chats because
who names their kid after him?
Pasta Yogi. Okay, I'm gonna put it up. Pasta Yogi super chats. Sorry, Pasta Yogi said no super chats because we are putting down towards Jim's teeth. Oh, that's sweet. So I think so. John Smith's a winner, and also if you guys, I want to repeat those fucking quotes of Adam. And it, I want to go over that real quick again because we've said that. Once again, if you donate up to $300, I will match up to $300, but in like 24 hours, and that's it. Like 24 hours, that's my deadline. That's it. I'll match that for Jim's teeth. And I wanted to do the that's right. So yesterday was they only want to show you the bad side of guns. That was yesterday. They only want to show you the bad side of guns. And the other one was intellectual property is a racket. You cannot ethically use force to prevent the free flow of information. You cannot own an idea. It is as simple as that. And this one's funny again. Do you remember when they called it the coronavirus? It was like, these are the symptoms. This is a symptom. And then you could get COVID toes and then COVID fingers, and then your dick could fall off. I thought that was a funny quote too.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
One more. There was 4 days. Sorry. They're your words. Okay. Adam quote of the day. The Libertarian Party has a platform. It's not a short document, but it's not a book. It's like a long pamphlet. So people, that's like your homework for the weekend. Make a decision and let me know, and I'll make a meme for next week.
Well, I figured you'd have one from today about penis shrinkage is a good thing because we're understanding how to avoid it by identifying its cause with pollution. No, there's got to be a penis shrinkage quote in there somewhere for next week. You got to do the Friday show. From the week before,
sure. I mean, I'll take a look at it. I'll take a look at it for sure. I'm sure there's some kind of small penis joke in there.
All right. Well, with that, thank you very much for co-hosting. Let's get executive producer, Jim Freedom here to finish us up with some promos for the week. Jim, how you doing, brother?
Doing well. How's it going? Awesome show. Great guest. I was a little bit off on some of my stuff, as I'm sure CJ's watching and laughing about. But the button is funny. I'm just playing the video on YouTube in the background, sharing only the audio. So every once in a while, you see a blank. Oh, see, I don't have it pulled up now. I don't have it ready. I'm in promo mode. I've already started clicking buttons towards promos. Can't switch me up once I get started.
All right, do it, Jim.
The winner of the contest just now, please email me, jim@thefreedomline.com. I just pulled up my email and I'm just now getting to email yesterday's winner. So there was a delay there because of work. But if you'd like to, you can join the public Telegram channel we got going on, t.me/Adam versus Man. Everyone is welcome to join that at all times. But if you want to be cool like the winner of our contest today, but you don't think you're ever going to be cool enough like them to actually win a contest, then you can just go to our website, adamversusman.com. This is the shop that you can find there, so we'll knock that promo out of the way. But you can click on the Patreon button here and check out the different levels to support the show monthly. $10 a month is a sweet spot. That's what gets you access into the private producers club chat that was just won with the contest today. After you check that out and get yourself access and you're in with the cool kids, click on cigarfederation.com. The link is on our website. They got all the cigars that you could ever think of and probably some flavors that you didn't think of. So check them out. Use promo code Adam10 to get 10% off of your entire order there and enjoy those. I always tell people if they order something from there, they should tag themselves on Twitter, smoking one of them, and tag the company itself too. Everybody loves being tagged on Instagram or Twitter. But right now we're talking about Instagram. If you go to @thegardenofreedom on Instagram, you can keep up with all the stuff that's going on with Adam up there in Gardenia. You can check out his recruiting flyer for everything he's got going on that he's recruiting for. Here's how you apply at the bottom of that. So and I almost forgot, but I didn't forget because I just now remembered the very last promo of our day is going to be for our good friends at thecrypto6.com. Everybody knows what's going on with that situation, the horrible raid that happened over the Bitcoin church, et cetera, et cetera. If you scroll down on their page, real simple, beautiful page. They got all the links right here if you want to just do your copy and pasting, or you can do the real cool technical stuff and just scan the QR codes and go donate right to those guys that need it so they can get their legal funding taken care of and help them. So there you go.
All right. And yes, as far as we know, Ian Freeman is still locked up there in New Hampshire. But it's been a great week with a lot of good news. Thank you so much for joining us and making this FINA Friday special good news episode a lot of fun. Mwah. Peace and love, y'all. Choose happiness and be excellent to each other.